Kung Fu forms. Now, Kung Fu forms play a really important role in our practice. I mean, every style of Kung Fu has their forms that they impart to their students. And so there's a lot of different forms out there. There's a lot of different reasons to train your form, a lot of different methods, okay? The first form that students learn in our school is called Gong This comes from the Jingwu tradition. And now the Jingwu is an association that was started in China in the 20th century to sort of standardize, lift the level of Kung Fu for everybody, which was a great idea. The political climate, just the global environment of the mid-20th century meant that things shook up and didn't quite play out how they thought, but it did have sort of this influence where these really good fundamental forms were passed on to a lot of styles. And so Gongli, which translates as power development form, Gongli Chuan, was one of these forms. So it's a form that is shared by many styles of Kung Fu. I was taught this in 7-Star Praying Mantis by Sifu John Cheng. We teach this to our beginner students so that they can start understanding how to move their body like they're doing Kung Fu, and how to study their movement from the Kung Fu perspective, okay? So the first section here, which we're gonna do together, is quite simple. We start off in this ready stance where we draw up to our waist. It's like you're pulling your pants up and you feel this nice relaxed fist. We punch up, step out to horse stance, let the arms drop and punch down, pull to the hip, over the head, transitioning to bow, even out the arms, through horse stance to bow on the other side, and then up. So, as we learn these movements, the first time, for the first several times you're doing it, you're just trying to remember them. You're just trying to let your body go through them so you can slowly work to retain. We practice until the mind forgets and the body remembers. So what should you think about first? First thing is, don't worry too much about what the hands are doing. Focus on what stance you're in and what direction you are facing, okay? So I'm facing north. This is my north. We think north, south, east, west. So I'm facing north. I'm in horse stance, facing north. I turn. My body is facing west while I'm still gazing north, and I'm in bow stance. And I'm gonna turn. There's north, and there's east. Just like that, okay? So focus on which direction you're facing and what stance you're in. In this section, we work horse stance, which is like you're sitting on your horse going for a ride. Bow stance, where we draw our stance open and we feel ourselves very strong between the feet. Now, also look for what your hand is doing. And that's all you gotta do is look for it. So the gaze follows the action. There's the action. There's the action, right? Coming to center. So there's the first way we want to interact with our form. What direction are we facing? What stance am I in? Follow the action of the hands. Once you've worked on that and you feel comfortable with that, what do we want to do then? We want to observe curves and straights in the body. This is going to clean up movement and clean up your stances. So here, straights, curves, and straights. You can observe throughout the whole form how the body, the legs and the arms are creating the curves and the straights. So notice where your curves are throughout the form and how you work to change that shape. As we work through that and you get more comfortable noticing your curves, noticing your straights, now we want to look at how we're moving, actually how we're making this. And so we want to have power come up from the ground and be turned through our waist, accentuated through the waist. So when we're here in horse stance, we turn our waist, we turn on our horse, and we drill the feet. We turn our waist, drill the feet. This is gonna take some time to practice, okay? Take some time. You can think about turning on your horse before you turn your horse. So don't turn like that too fast. Nice and slow and easy. So we're here, and we step out, And think, turn the waist, drill the feet. Turn the waist, drill the feet. As you get more comfortable with that, look at the push and pull of the arms. This might look like a punch, and it most definitely is getting and teaching us how to throw our big punch, which we'll talk about maybe in another video. But there is a lot more than just punches and kicks going on. We want to feel how the whole body is moving. So look at the push and pull of the arms. So what is 2 becomes 1, okay? So here, the arms are pulling, pushing. There's a pull and a push. Pulling together, pushing together. Pulling and pushing. The more you can pay attention to that, the more you'll start really feeling what's happening in the middle, right? And bringing your Kung Fu together. There's lots of different ways to train your form. 1,000 repetitions answers a lot of questions. So that's how many times you need to be practicing your form. And it doesn't always mean doing it the same way. We can practice our form slow. We can practice it fast. We can practice it high. We can practice it low. We can practice it in fixed stances where my feet don't move. They drill into the ground, okay? Or we can practice in what we call huobu, or living step, where there's a more dynamic quality to our movement. So there's lots of different ways we can practice our form to get our movement and our Kung Fu more integrated. Because this is our first form. It doesn't have to be heavy fighting and hitting. There's plenty of time to refine our skills in those spaces. First, we want to find the body method, how our body creates these movements, how we can relate and integrate our method. So thanks a lot. See you in class.